Crafty family, I'm back with a tutorial on how to make this embellishment book. I made this embellishment book for my friend V for the Hugs and Kisses swap, and I had so many people ask me how I put it together that I promised a tutorial. So I made this as the prototype to make sure that I had all my measurements right and everything else. But it doesn't have anything in it. So this is just a blank book that's showing you the basics for how to make this, and you can vary it for how you need or add things to it or whatever. This is just like really super duper basic. So you open it up and it has, I cut these pieces in there, these little holes, so that you can slide stuff in there, because when I made this, it was for the purpose of sharing die cuts. And so I had some die cuts packaged up in there, and then over here I had a pocket with some more die cuts, and so I just wanted to include, this pocket is sewn across on the top and then attached to the matte paper, so that you can slide something in there. And then these are left blank. When I used this for my embellishment book for V, I'd put rosettes on here on both sides, and that's why I left this huge space in between, so that there was room to actually have those, because they do have depth to them, if you're wondering why like this is just so wide open. And then it opens up like this, and if you saw the one that I made before, I had sewn all kinds of pockets in here and attached all kinds of stuff there. And then this page has another pocket on there, and then this has a vertical pocket that you can slide stuff into. So this is what we're going to be making, and I will show you how to do this. And here are the measurements for everything. I will also have this listed in the comments below, but you are more than welcome to pause and take a screenshot of this if you want to just have it ready to go on one location. One thing I wanted to point out is this is perfect for all of those 6x8 books that we all seem to collect. I prefer 12 by 12 pages, but I do end up with a lot of these. I often buy the 6x8 because I like the variation of the size of the pattern, or just the way that things have gold on them or don't have gold on them as compared to the 12 by 12. So I often buy both just because I get the different sizes in there, but I have to admit I do get a buildup of 6x8. So I only used 6x8 for this. I used the new Parasol collection from Maggie Holmes. I just ordered this from Peachy Cheap because I just wanted to get my hands on it and see what it looks like. So anyway, let's get going. So we're gonna start with 2 5x8 pieces of chipboard and 1 2.5x8 piece of chipboard, and then we're gonna wrap it with 12 by 10 and 6 by 10 cardstock, and then for the spine inside you need another piece that's 3 1/4 by 7 7/8. Additionally, as I was putting this one together, I realized that I didn't want to have chipboard showing behind here, so you just need to make a couple pieces that are big enough to cover what is visible behind there. And same with this piece right here. It doesn't have to cover the whole inside, but it can if you want to. It just depends on what you feel like doing. So that will also be something, but there are not the measurements for that on here. Where did this come from? Oh, okay, it came from right there. I just left something behind. Okay, so I'm gonna push this to the side, and like I said, that will be down below in the measurements. So we're gonna start out with the big pieces of cardstock. I think that I'm using American Crafts. I like the texture of this paper. I think it's really pretty, and so I just keep on using it. It just has become my go-to. And then I'll also list the tape that I use. I get it on Amazon. This is the 1 inch. I also have 5 inch that I use, but they are something that I just always have on stock. When I'm making things like this, I like to use tape because when you use too much glue, it can get wet no matter how quickly it's tacked together. Maybe it's because I live in Washington State, I don't know, but I have a tendency to have get wobbly pages. Whoops, I didn't burnish this down. So basically we're making a long enough piece to wrap the chipboard right here. So we're attaching these two pieces together. Maybe if I can get this piece off of here. There we go. And we're just gonna put this on here, and I apologize because I still have this darn cold. I can't seem to shake it. It's been going on forever. Okay, so we have this long piece of paper here now. The seam always goes on the back where you're less likely to see it. It's not the showpiece. And so here I have tape. You can see it's not perfect on there because it doesn't have to be perfect on there. It just needs to stick it down. In fact, you don't need to cover the whole entire thing with tape if you don't want to. I just do. It gives me great satisfaction. And I'm gonna put it about an inch. Wait, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna put about an inch over here because I don't want the seam to be on a fold, because then whenever I do that, the seam always breaks. So I'm just trying to avoid that. So if there's extra, I want it to be on the side that won't break. Obvious tip, something that wasn't obvious to me the first time I made a book, you don't want to put the card or the chipboard right next to each other. You need to gusset so that you can fold it. The first time I ever made a book, I was like, oh, well that doesn't work. That just tears the paper now. Great. So ever since then, I think that I need to tell people that all the time. I'm gonna just trim that, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be covered up with the mat. There we go. And now I'm just gonna put tape on the edges of the wrap paper. I am gonna miter the corners, but I like to put the tape all the way out to the corners. Oh, I hate that. That's gonna irritate me. I like to put tape all the way out to the corners though, and then cut off any extra, like I don't mind cutting it, just because then I know I got tape out as far as possible, and it will be on all of the edges. Burnish, burnish, burnish. Why is it that the best boning tools are the ones that come for free? With like something. Came with the We Are Memories Keepers paper cutter. I don't know, they always just seem to work the best for me. I bought all kinds of different fancy ones, and these ones always seem to be my favorites. And then the other thing is, how did they get lost so easy? I have lost so many boning tools. I used to have Martha Stewart boning tools. Those ones were my absolute favorite, but I've never been able to find them again. Oh shoot, I forgot to cut first. I was talking about boning tools. And I just cut like that. Just cut the triangle. Don't cut it too close. You can always trim off extra, but you can't get it back, and it will show the chipboard if you cut it too close. I shouldn't get chatty today. Maybe I shouldn't do storytelling today because my brain isn't all here because I'm still working through this cold. One thing I hate about having a cold and making videos is all the mouth breathing that happens on video. That's why I put music over them so I'm not like, oh, damn it. My son is on midwinter break and my husband works from home. So my son gets really fun breaks So they just went to Losing Flight. My son is a huge airplane buff, loves airplanes. She got into them like 2 years ago and is obsessing. So this right here kind of popped out a little bit. I find if I just kind of like work it with my boning tool, it just flattens it out and makes it look okay again. So yeah. I'm sure that doesn't work every time, but when you get it thicker, because that double layer there just kind of makes it look a little prettier. Okay, so now we're left with our basic book. I'm gonna go ahead and fold it so we get our folding habit started with the paper, the paper memory started. And I don't know if I already said this to you, I already have everything cut out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it looks like I didn't burnish this. I'm gonna go ahead and put the inside spine piece down. This just covers up any card or any chipboard. I keep wanting to call it cardstock. Any chipboard that might show. I don't mind chipboard the way it looks, but it makes it look unfinished when you can see it in a project like this. But if you don't want to cover up your chipboard and you're fine with it, it's your thing, you know? Anything you make is open to interpretation. When I was a kid, I did not have a lot of craft supplies. Like we had what was around. I'm also the third child. So we just have like what's around. There wasn't a lot of purchasing of things. And so my name Urban Forager is because I crafted from recycled and found things for most of my life. Once I went pro, you know, like got an Instagram and stuff and a YouTube channel, then I like started allowing myself to buy things. When I graduated from college, I got a college gift of money from my parents, and I spent a couple $100 in a craft or in a scrapbook store, and it was just like, it just opened me up to everything. And I was involved in Yahoo groups where we would do swapping, like to make collective books and things. And I remember at one point saying, I cannot just continue to buy stuff. I have to like use what I have already, and forcing myself to use everything that I had before I continued to buy more. I'm just gonna add the inside that goes under those places that we can see. So I made myself use everything I had before I was allowed to buy more. And I have never done that again since. No. The reason I sell my things is so that I can buy the things that I want to craft. So that's how my name Urban Forager came about. It's because I foraged the world for so many things for so many years. But that was just kind of like my way of being. If I needed something brown, I used a paper bag. Like I used to make my own wrapping paper from paper bags and stamps. Like paper grocery bags. My mom would say, I'm gonna save this. I'd be like, what? No. Anyway, okay, so this is the foundation now that I'm done with everything. I know this doesn't look pretty, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna cover it all up. I'm gonna put this to the side because the next thing we're gonna work on are the cardstock pages, the ones that are gonna be in here and that will flip out like that. So I'm gonna get my scoring tool out, my scoreboard, and this is cut to 8 by 11. So basically, if you use 8.5 by 11, all you're doing is cutting off that 1/2 inch. And for both of them, on the 11-inch side, you're gonna score it at 1 inch, and then you're gonna score it at 6 inches, and then 6 1/4. Do the same on the other one. Second verse, same as first. A little bit louder and a little bit worse. Okay. There we are. Put that aside. And now I'm gonna fold We're going to fold them and burnish and burnish and fold it. This is 110-pound cardstock, in case you're wondering. I have a tendency to be always on 110-pound cardstock, even though I know the lighter weight stuff will do. I just really like the way this feels, always. You know how you kind of fall in love with something and then you just have a hard time using anything else? So I just ordered a whole bunch from Michael's. Do we have a Michael's right down the road? Yes, we do. Did I order anyway? Yes, I did. Because I hate leaving the house. I'm gonna make a couple of little tabs here, just so these don't pop out and look like little corners. If they get misaligned the slightest amount, they're not gonna be all funky. There we go. And actually, I'm gonna fold this back like this, because when we put it in, we want the page to go like that. So I'm gonna fold those back. Put this to the side again. And for this, I'm trying to decide. I used tape last time, but do I want to use tape or glue? The reason why I'm wondering is because I had to pull it off like 4,000 times on one side, so I'm gonna use glue so that I have a little bit of an opportunity to move it around if I want to. What kind of glue do I use? Thanks for asking. I use glitter. Is it glitter art glue? Art glitter glue. Sorry. Yeah, art glitter glue. Am I sponsored by them? No. No, I am not. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that right on the edge. You can see where my page is gonna open there. I'm gonna slide it back. So it's just right there, just like that. A little sloppy glue. Who cares? No one's gonna see it. Okay? Okay. All right. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, just like that. Put down my glue. Sorry, I just want to look and make sure it's still recording. I made a whole tutorial the other day, and when I did it, I stood up. I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then found out my device had run out of energy or run out of storage. I was like, no. I was like, well, guess I'm not making a tutorial for that. Okay, so now you can see that we have, I mean, if you want to stop watching right here, go for it, because now it's just matting these pages. So to mat, we need 2 for the cover and spine, and the inside cover, they're the same measurement. So 2 of the rectangles that's 4 7/8 by 7 7/8, 1 that's 2 3/8 by 7 7/8. So the spine is obviously the smaller one, and it's the same measurements for the insides and outsides. One thing that I did want to show you before we go into like high speed mode, because I am going to go into high speed, or a couple of things I should talk about, I suppose. So first is there are die cuts. I know Scraptiva Designs has some die cuts that cuts little things like that. Like I know that right now in the file folder mini album kit, she's got a couple of those that will do that. But if you don't have that and you still want to make a little hole like this, I suggest just using your scoreboard. So I know this is a little tiny piece, and I'm gonna get my finger blade. Where is my finger blade? Oh great. Oh, here it is. Okay, I actually put it away. All you do is you poke your finger blade through there, pull it down as far as you want to go, poke your finger blade in the next one. So get 1/8 of an inch, like that. And then I'm going to take your nasty cutting mat and you just go across like that and like that, and you get your little line cut there. And I like to go around and sew it also so that it stays, so as you're putting things in and out of it, it doesn't get wrecked. So that's how I do that when I'm not using a die. And I did not use dies for these ones. You might notice that this one is a little bit wider than the others, and it's because somehow, I don't know how, I started going up, and so I was like, well, I guess this one's going to be 1/8 of an inch. And then the other things I wanted to point out before I start speeding up the video is I did sew around all these. They all have tape on the back already. You don't want to tape the backs of these ones. These ones you want to put glue. If you put tape right here, you won't be able to slide your things inside of there. If you put tape under these, you won't be able to slide things down. All you'll have is pretty holes. So make sure that you don't tape or glue behind those. I did glue or tape sew on the cover, a little decorative stuff, and there's obviously I can add more to that if I want to. And then I also did sew on the pockets already. So the pockets I sew across the top of the cut apart card, and then just sew, and you can see the sewing on the back there just goes around the bottom edges there. So that's kind of like, there's some prep work before you start doing all of the adhering to the actual embellishment book, and just kind of keep that in mind. Like, what do you want to do? In my last book, I had a lot more pockets on there, and I had one more page that was like this, that actually had 4 pockets like this, so I could put 4 different things in there. So this is the time when you really need to think about what's your goal with your embellishment book, what are you going to be putting inside your embellishment book, and how you need to personalize it for you. Because like I said, this is just an example for options. It's not necessarily what has to be done. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the video into hyperspeed. Ooh, let's fold you a little more, because you are stiff like me when I wake up in the morning and try to get out of bed. Don't want to bend. Okay, so I'm gonna speed this up and put everything together, and by the end we should have something that looks very similar to this one. So here we go. And that's the final, that's how it's gonna look until everything that you want to add to it gets added. And if you make one, please tag me in your finished product, because I'd love to see how it turns out. Thanks so much for checking in with me, and have a great and crafty day.